Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Urban Forestry Committee. Calling this meeting to order. My name is Tori Antonino. I am the chair, along with Chris Dwan, who is not here. And pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting is being held remotely. Welcome, everybody. I want to dive into introductions, and we'll go in alphabetical order by first name. And who's here? I only have 4 people on my screen. Is that, all right, no obligation to, anyway. Breck, I think you're on.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Breck Miller. I'm the tree warden for the city. Generally, I oversee the maintenance of most of the city trees.
Thank you.
My next, if we're going by first name. Hi everyone, I'm Connor Guidarelli. I'm a committee member. I'm a horticulturalist at the Arnold Arboretum, and I sit on this committee to try and give whatever help I can. So, and very excited for Adopt a Tree and tree pits very soon. Thanks.
Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Clifford, member of the Urban Forestry Committee, resident of Somerville. I'm a plant pathologist by training, and I'm interested in like Connor, helping as much as I can to have a happy, healthy urban forest and to engage the community to try to help us reach our goals for that. Thank you.
Leah.
Hi everyone, my name is Leah Grossman. I'm a landscape architect in Boston, and I'm also excited about getting others excited about our urban forest.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Tori Antonino. I am an ecological landscaper, which means I use ecological landscaping practices in my efforts to leave the leaves and increase pollinators, and won't mow your lawn, but I'll put in an alternative lawn, and just trying to get all the creatures back. So we put in indigenous plants and use our city to best recreate ecosystems. And private landscapes or private property is going to matter a lot. So in case anyone's out there, start planting native plants. Thank you. Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Bukili. I'm the Senior Urban Forestry and Landscape Planner for the city. More of the planning arm of Breck's maintenance. So do planting and other stuff to help the trees live their best lives and help people enjoy them. I think we miss Murphy too.
Hi, I'm Murphy Langevin. I'm a Somerville resident and arboriculture student at Essex Tech. I currently do tree work with Cambridge Landscape, and I'm trying to get more youth members involved in just overall health of our urban canopy.
Well, thank you, everybody. Murph, glad to hear you. So do we have any housekeeping items?
I have one, just a reminder that the city is putting on a mandatory boards and committees training next Monday. It starts at 6:30, I believe. I sent you all the link. So be there if you can. If you absolutely cannot be there, there will be a link later. But hope to see most of you there.
I think that's going to be a really large meeting. It's for all of the boards, right, across Somerville. All
Yep.
right, that'll be fun. Like seriously, sounds fun. Okay, any other housekeeping? Connor?
Is that everyone in attendance? I see Erica Satine Hernandez on the list. Ooh. Is there any other members of the public that have not been introduced yet if they want to? Can we double check that?
Great idea.
Yeah, Erica's here from the city. We have some attendees as well.
Okay, who might we have from the public, and can we elevate them or nominate them? I forget what it's
Yeah.
called.
I think we've usually been letting them introduce themselves and then promoting them to panelists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, all
you wanna
right,
start with-
I see it.
Do you want to
Crystal
start with Erica since she's
or
here?
Erica.
Oh, sorry,
Sure.
sorry.
Erica, hi.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Erica. I'm the
introduce
ARPA
yourself.
specialist in the city of Somerville. We'll talk, I think, agenda item in a couple minutes about how ARPA may be able to be used for open spaces and projects.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, hi. If you'd like to introduce yourself, you can, if it's not obligatory.
Okay. Can you hear me? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Crystal. I am a resident and bringer of ridiculous things.
Okay. Forgive me for this if I mispronounce, and please correct me. Jan Marie Gavarini? You look like you're self-muted. If you'd like to speak, you are welcome to. Okay, we'll go to Meredith Porter and we'll come back to you, Jehan. Meredith, how are you doing?
Doing well. Meredith Porter, 104 Josephine Ave. I'm just here to check out and see all the good things that you're doing for the wonderful trees in our city.
Thank you for coming. There you are. I see you that you're unself-muted.
Hi, I'm Jean-Marie. I'm a gardener at the Albion Community Garden. I'm a Somerville resident. I have participated in the committee before, but it's always on a night when I have a class, so I've not been able to attend for several years now. But I'm glad to join tonight.
Okay, well, thank you.
One more
okay,
person, Tori. Malik has audio now. He might be able to introduce
himself. Hi, Malik.
Or maybe he lost it again. Malik is here somewhere. He's the urban forestry and landscape planner.
So yeah, jump in anytime, Malik. Next, I want to go to resident concerns. So we'll start with members of the public. If you guys have any concerns, just chime in. And can we nominate them? What is it called again?
Promote them.
Promote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So all for the last few months, we've been promoting all attendees to panelists so that you can join in the conversation more openly. So I'm going to promote you guys, and feel free to get on video or raise your hand if you want to interact.
Okay.
Sorry, Meredith, I can't seem to promote you. It might be the way that you're logged in. So you're still an attendee. That is all, Tori. Sorry, you have
okay. And any resident concerns? And that would be members of the public first. Or updates.
One of my concerns is how many trees are being cut in Somerville. There was one on my street that was cut. When the guys were cutting it, I went and asked them why they were cutting it. They were extremely condescending. They said that they always ask the tree how it feels before they cut it. And that was their answer. I didn't feel, that it was appropriate.
You know, I'm sorry you had that interaction. It sounds like, I mean, I hope they were being sincere, but it sounds like they were perhaps being sarcastic.
They were completely sarcastic, and it was
I'm
very clear. And they were, you know, big men, big macho men talking to a woman. That's basically what it was. And to a tree hugger. And I'm sure they get, you know, I'm sure they get a lot of whatever feedback from the community, negative probably feedback. Oh, I don't know. I assume they do, and so maybe they're sick of it, but still, that's no reason. And the tree seemed perfectly fine to me. It was replaced since that, so I've been happy to see that there is a tree there, but it's a minuscule tree when, you know, the tree that was there was enormous. And so, you know, with climate change, we're getting rid of all the big trees and putting small trees. I don't know what's that's doing for the city.
Can I ask when this was? When did this happen?
And I think in the fall, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised and saddened to hear that was the experience. We have been working on improving our communications to residents when we have to remove trees. And we only remove trees when it's when there's a good reason to do so. Usually they're dead or dying or have some decay, something that presents a hazard. And we have notification letters sent, delivered to all the residents that live right near the trees. So I don't know how that happened where you didn't get a notification. You know, I'm sure sometimes that just
yeah, I almost
wondered
if it was the house was for sale, the house was bought, and I thought, is it the new owners? Did they just call a company and had them remove the tree? I mean, is that possible?
Not if it's a tree on the sidewalk. That is illegal to do. We only remove trees that are dangerous or that have gone through a tree hearing process, and we always do the notification process regardless of why a tree has to come down. If this was someone that just didn't follow the law and cut it down, then we should definitely know about that and follow up. You can reach out to me for more information, or if you want to give me the specific address, I can see if we can find the reason why it was removed. We keep track of all of that information and make sure we are aware of it. Or you can always email me and I can follow up with you after the fact. You can email trees@somervillema.gov. I'll put it in the chat so you can see that.
I'll just email you, right? Because I have your email. It's Vanessa.
Because what?
I can just email you, right? Because
yep.
I have your email address.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
It's Vanessa Bukili or something like that.
It's vbukili@somervillema.gov. The trees at email I just put in the chat, that goes to me and Malik and Breck. So so I will see it that way too.
Well, thank you so much. I should have done it when it happened, but you know, I just got upset and whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
You said it happened in the fall?
I think it was in the fall, but I can't, you know, I will not say that in front of a court because I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we know who it is now or who would be doing the tree removal, but if something like that happens again, if there could be some communication to the contractors to perhaps be sensitive and understanding when they're cutting down trees, that they'll probably encounter residents who might be upset and saddened, and to have sensitivity towards that. Maybe that can be something we can communicate to our future contractors.
That would be nice.
So thanks for bringing that to our attention. Anybody, any other residents?
Hi, Meredith here.
Hey, Meredith.
So the wardens, I'm sure, have seen my objections to the removal of the the proposed removal of the sycamore tree at 37 Walker Street. That's a big, healthy, good tree, beautiful tree. And I appreciate your rescheduling the hearing because the notice hadn't been posted on it in time. And that's one thing I would ask you to just, keep an eye on the notices on these trees. And I trust that you will after that experience. And I'm sorry for the inconvenience that it must have caused people in rescheduling it. And in general, just, it's worrisome to me that a homeowner would ask for a tree to be removed in circumstances like that. I know that there can be a lot of trouble and expense involved in dealing with the tree, but these are wonderful old trees that contribute so much to our city, and particularly if it's someone who comes in as an investor and the value of their property has gone up tremendously, and the cost of dealing with the tree is really small compared to the increase in value of their property. So I think it's something to bear in mind, and I thank you for dealing with it.
Meredith, I don't think any apology is needed when it comes to our trees. All eyes on the ground, concerns are valid, and thank you for caring.
Thank you.
And Vanessa, all of the tree hearings are posted like on the events section of the Somerville website, right? I mean, I've seen a lot of them.
They're on the city calendar, yeah.
They're on the city calendar. Yeah, so okay, anyone else? Anyone on the council? The board? Hi, Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer.
Hi. I have a question for you, Vanessa. And if we've talked about this before, I apologize. I just don't remember. But it's a spotted lanternfly related question. There was an alert, I guess you could call it, from the Massachusetts Department of Agriculture. We know that there have been some isolated incidents of SLF in Massachusetts. No infestation yet. There is an infestation, I think, in Connecticut. But the alert was about nursery stock being delivered to Massachusetts from SLF infested areas. And I recalled that Tuckahoe, I think, is located in New Jersey. So first, I guess I want to confirm that, which is known to have SLF. I don't know where Tuckahoe is exactly. I'm sure that the pest is probably distributed by county more rather than throughout the whole state. But it led me to think about a couple of things. First off, when we receive nursery stock from them, is there an inspection process? And what does that, I guess I'm just curious about what that entails and what are we looking for there? And also, secondly, is I know that they go into storage at some point, but how long are they in some sort of like a quarantine, quote unquote situation that would allow us to be able to spot pest development or even maybe specific disease issues of these plants?
Good questions. So Tuckahoe is, I don't exactly know where in New Jersey it is either, maybe like an hour drive from the airport. I don't know how helpful that is. And I don't know if SLF is there. We don't have an inspection process from city staff. Once the trees arrive to Leahy, we do go down and tag the trees to choose the ones that are coming in, and then we inspect the trees once they've been installed. But if they have SLF, then they really should not get installed. I don't know what the contractor's inspection is like, and
that was going to be my next question. Okay.
I will definitely bring that up to them. Leahy is not our contractor this season, but they will be bringing in some trees for replacements, so I will contact them. We'll talk about this more in the tree planting section of the agenda, but our contractor for this year is Northeastern Tree, and they get trees from all around. They're currently sourcing the trees, so I don't know where they're coming from yet, but I will keep that in mind. And if there's SLF in those areas, make sure that they are doing careful inspections as well. Again, Malik and I will be tagging those trees in the field so we can look for SLF at that point, and it will be pretty soon before they get planted. But yeah, so I'm assuming that the transport situation is like mostly what we should be looking for is the egg masses. Is that what you read too?
Yeah. Yeah, right now.
So,
And that's the big concern, I guess, because they're so easy to miss. They
yeah.
blend right in with many different types of bark. And,
Yeah.
you know, lots of pests find good ways to hide. So,
yeah.
yeah,
So
but if
Malik and I will keep our eyes out, but there is not really a holding, there's
thanks.
not a holding time specifically.
Is that something do you think we should consider, having a more formalized system for inspection and quarantine perhaps?
Possibly.
Or is that,
No.
should that be on the other end, or getting from contractors or nurseries that will do that as part of the bid or something?
Yeah, it might have to be something we build into future contracts. It's now too late to do it for the one that's
Right.
set up.
Yeah, I understand that,
But yeah, with SLF coming and being more widespread, that seems even more important. We do have a part of the contract that certified the contractor has to submit certified grower certificates that say that the trees are insect and pest free. You know, but that's only as good as whoever's doing the inspection. So.
right. Yeah, so there's no auditing process or anything like that that the city goes through and checks on that.
No. How long
Or
would
some
you
other
think?
governing body checks on them.
Yeah. How long would you think a tree would have to be in quarantine to make sure that they're not missed?
I
Would it be like
I
a
don't know.
year?
That's the thing. I think for something like this, I just don't know what the realistic expectation of that would be, because they can overwinter on things for so long. They will start hatching soon. But yeah, if you get them, do they have to sit in for months? Yeah, so that's sort of like a perhaps an unrealistic expectation. So I don't know if there could be some short period, that would at least give somebody an opportunity to go in and take a look, or you know, like a good look 1 week and then a good look another week, and before they're released.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
Yeah, so I don't know. That might be worth some thought. But yeah.
Yeah.
And one thought is that a pest of that nature could really decimate a whole tree farm's operations. So they would be more inclined to keep pests away from their stock as much as possible.
Yeah, good
I hope
point.
so.
Yeah.
I posted some articles regarding there's a quarantining process in New Jersey. I didn't look at the counties to see if Tuckahoe is, which might be one of the, you know, sources of our trees, if it's in that county. But each county has to, they have to have permits to move equipment and goods within and out of the zone regarding the spotted lanternfly. I don't know what that entails. So there seems like there's some mechanism, but as Jennifer said, those eggs are sneaky, and as Malik said, you think that any tree farm would be very vigilant about it, because they could, spotted lanternfly, even though its favorite plant is the tree of heaven, it's been decimating grapes and a lot of like fruiting trees. So but yeah, so I posted some
yeah. I think it's less likely to get transported on nursery stock than it is on other things, you know, just like emerald ash borer, you know, that it probably gets on things like tires and planters and other things, lawn chairs, you know, that people are transporting around rather than an actual tree. But it did make me think about that, made me curious about the process of receiving this stock. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Jennifer. I don't want to say that it's a eventuality, but we might want to start thinking about how we alert our residents. And I think there's something on the website. I think, Vanessa, you might have put something on the website regarding the spotted lanternfly, but
yeah,
Jennifer,
there is. I wrote that up, and it is posted, and it is right at the very top now of the news section of the Urban Forestry Committee website. So yeah, we are distributing that at our outreach events and pictures of it so that people can be on the lookout for it. Yeah.
Thank you for being so proactive on that, Jennifer. Leah, you mentioned.
I just did a quick Google, and it looks like Tuckahoe's in Cape May County, which is south. And it looks like it's currently the only county in New Jersey where the infestation is not yet present. But it is a peninsula, so it seems like only a matter of time before it will join the ranks. I did another quick Google, and it looks like egg masses are present through June before the little bugs come out. And so it seems like this is very cursory and would need more investigation, but maybe looking for egg masses at this time of year could be a first step.
I perhaps we can incorporate that in the Adopt a Tree program. Maybe that can be just another part of the Google form. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
but,
it would be good for us to, like everyone who's going out and hanging tags, to do some research. Yes. And then I think if we see one, it's not even about Google form, it's like red alert, because none of them have been spotted in our county yet. So I think it would be something we should educate ourselves about what we're looking for at this time of year. And so we can do some research and probably share that out by email, because we'll be going out before our next meeting.
Yeah, when maybe that's something we can incorporate into we can talk about this, I guess, during the outreach portion of the meeting, but we can incorporate that into the sign up sheet, send everybody, you know, what it looks like, so they can even stick it on the phone or something, bring it with them. Just kind of do an inspection of the trunk. It's a good idea.
Okay, excellent. Crystal, I see you put a question in the chat. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot on the agenda for today, and I'm also looking down the barrel of a 6 p.m. meeting for Mamas that I need to go to. But I did want to put in a question maybe for later, or if there's a way to have on the Somerville website about like what Somerville now to prevent the problem that we're seeing at 37 Walker Street with the sycamore, because we continue to plant trees in the sidewalk space near the houses, and it sounds like the house's utilities are impacted, and I don't have any particular knowledge of that, but the tree looks awesome, and if there's a way to make sure we don't keep having this problem, and if there's a way to like maybe change the height of the sidewalk or something around the tree instead of losing some of the trees to this problem, I just wanted to raise that as a might need more follow-up later kind of thing.
I can speak to that a little bit. We have been practicing right tree, right place since since I've come on board 5 years ago. So we do think about these trees that we're putting in the sidewalks, living hopefully, 30, 40, 50 years, even more. And we're keeping that in mind and putting in trees that are more appropriate for each spot. This species that was planted at 37 Walker can get huge, like the tree at 37 Walker, and is very tough and has very strong sort of invasive roots. So I would never plant a tree like that on such a narrow sidewalk. There still may be trees that have some complications with other utilities. Sometimes we don't know where all of the utilities are if they're not marked out, but we do our best to keep far enough away from utilities now that they won't have big impacts. And we plant trees that are better for each location. So we're already addressing that in terms of what we plant, and we can fix the sidewalks around trees. So that part's not the biggest issue in this case. It's really the size of the tree, the species of the tree, and the location of it in comparison to the house and the utilities. So I think, our counterparts 50 years from now will hopefully not have quite the same problems. Maybe we're making new problems we haven't thought about, but we're trying our best.
Okay, thanks, Crystal, and thank you for what you do with mamas and feeding people. Okay, next on the agenda. Okay, DPW updated landscaping plans for Franny Road.
I am wondering, Tori, if we can maybe switch that with the ARPA discussion, since Erica's here and I think Ben is coming but is not here yet.
Okay, so let's take things out of order. I don't know if we need a motion for that. I move to do it. Okay, we're doing it. All right, so Erica's here to talk about ARPA funding and how we might use the funds to increase our green space and I don't know, other thoughts that we might have as a committee. Erica, hey.
Hi. All right, thank you for having me. Excited to talk with you guys. And so I can give a really quick, overview on ARPA if you'd like, and then we can talk about some possible uses and kind of what comes next. So just to start us off, I'm Erica. I'm the ARPA specialist in the city of Somerville. We're situated in the mayor's office. There's a couple of us on the team, and ARPA, again, standing for the American Rescue Plan Act. This was passed early last year, and the section that we are working under is called the State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, if anyone's interested in looking at some of the specifics. And Somerville is receiving $77.5 million in these funds with the intention of using them towards COVID recovery efforts. And the way that can look is actually really broad, which is very exciting to hear. And the federal government has also been advising that they really want these funds to be used in a way that promotes equity, which is also really exciting. So there are a number of different possibilities that we've got. And so I'll quickly go through some of the ways that the money can be spent. There are a couple of different expenditure categories. So there are these larger categories, and then there's like sub uses underneath. And all of this is available on the ARPA website. I'll put it in the chat, but it's somervillema.gov/ARPA. So first, of course, in aiding with pandemic recovery, we've got to look at public health. And so there are a number of different uses for these funds related to public health, like vaccination, testing, contact tracing, helping businesses stay COVID safe, etc. Mental health services, substance use services, community violence, all sorts of interventions there. Combating the negative economic impacts of the pandemic, so a lot of direct to aid households, aid to households directly for like food, rent, etc. This section also includes a number of community-based efforts. And so looking at healthy childhood environments, the social determinants of health, and one that I think is particularly of interest to this group will be a subcategory called Strong Healthy Communities, neighborhood features that promote health and safety. And so that does include, possibilities for green and open spaces. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that. But there's also small business funds, public sector capacity, water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure, and administrative costs to make sure that we can run the ARPA program smoothly. So that's a really quick 1-2, I guess, on some of the funds and where they can be used. Yeah, and so again, on the ARPA website, we've got links to these expenditure categories, so you can see, where programs can be applied for. We've also got the final rules, and so if you search for the title of a category that you're interested in, you should bring up, some of the further information about what that can include, as well as, types of groups that can apply. I'll also say before, I guess we can just, have a conversation and talk through questions that, we're towards the end of the community engagement process. We're aiming to close, by the end of this month. And so right now we do have our ARPA survey still available. We're aiming to close that by the end of next week. And so if anyone is interested in letting us know more about how the pandemic has impacted you, how you'd like to see the ARPA funds spent, and any other comments, related to the process, we'd love to have you fill out the survey. And I can get all this in the chat too, but that'll be available for just about another week. All of the information that we've gathered from the survey and from meeting with different community groups and organizations, goes into a larger package of our engagement findings, and then we'll go to the mayor to help decide, roughly how she wants to budget the funds through the different types of uses. Once we've got that nailed down, we're going to open a public application process. And so groups can apply for funds to carry out a project in one of these eligible categories, again, to help the community recover from the impacts of the pandemic. One of the key elements to keep in mind is that any of the subrecipients who are applying for funding, they need to have a UEI number, which is a federal designation, but it's pretty easy as long as you have the attendees for organizations that have been incorporated, so like nonprofits, as well as formal businesses, I believe. So that's the main requirement coming from the federal government as to who can apply to use the funds. But always glad to have partnerships with city offices or with organizations that have that number to create a project that has community benefit. So that's a quick overview, I suppose, on where we can go. And I'd love to hear from you guys about your priorities for this funding and how you see green and open spaces, with opportunities potentially moving forward with this. I think for me, I'm coming from a public health background. I think the connectivity between open space, respiratory health, in a very specific sense, but also just well-being for our community, both physically and mentally and socially. Connect to green space is really important. So I can see that general background to kick us off, and so I'd love to hear a little bit more about any questions that you have about ARPA or elements that you want us to kind of fold into our community engagement findings that I can bring back.
Erica, I may have gotten you into trouble with the subcommittee about community gardens in Somerville because I said that we had a meeting and talked about the potential of ARPA funds for food sovereignty projects and gardening. And I know that Mamas is not currently moving forward on a project. Like we might do something with the new process, but I know that what I got from our discussion was that it was possible to use ARPA funds for gardening efforts in Somerville, particularly like community gardening efforts and whatnot. And the chair of whichever subcommittee it was, I apologize, I don't remember, Tori might, like was adamant that I was incorrect, and I would love a clear answer, and I apologize if I got you in trouble.
I think one of the things that's exciting about ARPA, but also, you know, is that there is room for flexibility and creativity. And so I think it depends on sort of how you are framing the project. And so as an example, you know, there's this category here, household assistance, food programs. And so if there, you know, is a I would say, you know, if there's a justification around, you know, we're specifically, and just to put this out there, I'm saying this as I get to help everyone create, you know, their application and try and guide them and make sure that everything fits the guidelines. But I don't make, you know, any decisions about who gets funded or not. And so this is, you know, I can help you put together as best a package as we can get, and then push it, you know, for approval elsewhere. So I'll say that. What I would say if you were applying, I would like to see discussion about how your garden is used for food production, and how the food production that you are doing there is going to benefit, you know, residents who are experiencing food insecurity, and how this in particular ties back to COVID. You know, I think we can definitely see food insecurity rates rising related to COVID for sure. And I think it would be even stronger to then think about how your garden in particular is beneficial to the larger situation. I think that could be eligible. And again, thinking about the type of entity who's applying, making sure that they're a qualifying, you know, entity with that UEI number, and that's available. Close the chat somehow. SAM.gov is where the information on what is required for that number is on there. So, you know, without like further information about how we'd frame your project, you know, I think that sounds eligible, but again, like there's a lot of details that we'd have to check in about. But there is that category for food assistance. So I'll leave it at that for now, and we can talk offline further. That seems good.
Crystal, I do hope Mamas gets funding, and however I can support that individually, I want to. I know the the meeting you're talking about, and it was very unpleasant. I don't think any committee member or anyone who sits on a board should make blanket statements of who or should not receive money. And yeah, I was offended at the Concom meeting by the chair. So I was wondering, because we know what's really one thing that's really important right now is our pollinator health. And our pollinator health is indicative of the health of our ecosystems. And having ecosystems is healthy ecosystems is very important for our crops. It's very important for life to happen. For, you know, if we don't have our pollinators, not only do we not have flowering plants that are pollinated, but we lose our bird population, because birds eat insects and they feed their babies, oftentimes caterpillars, which are very important because they have a lot of protein. Birds can't feed their babies seeds. So I was wondering, oh, and for humans, there is, for me, nothing more exciting than seeing a butterfly fly by, and it brings joy, and it helps remind us, that we're part of nature. And I feel like that's lacking in a lot of areas. And one way we get that back is by planting meadows. And I was wondering if we could use funds to do community projects to install the native plants meadows in our parks. And there's a lot of sort of like extra spaces like around the edges of parks, and sometimes we have like, wow, it's got a lot of turf grass here, we could carve out a 5 by 5 foot space and do a pollinator meadow. So my question is, can we do funds for acquiring plants? And I don't know, like, I guess, can we pay someone to organize it? How and like, where do we put it, and which communities like do we involve? Like, say, would we have to like is that a possibility, first of all? And then would we need to sort of have a very specific plan, like we are going to plant a meadow here, and Groundwork Somerville along with the neighbors in this area are going to help plant it? Like, would that be a project that could be approved, and how would we need to sort of describe it so that the funds are used for what they are intended for?
Yeah, I think the key element to think about here, and this, is across any project that's proposed, but I think is important to this one as well, is, how this project in particular helps Somerville recover from the impacts of the pandemic. And so that's really like that's the first question on the application, and sort of the key justification element that helps us determine if this is an eligible use of funding, and if so, where it fits. And so I could imagine maybe like a combo mental health, being in nature, with also, our green space, availability of green spaces, maybe, and trying to connect that, to the impacts of the pandemic. I think, that justification is really the key element that we would need there. And in terms of, it sounds with the second question that you're sort of getting at, like, shovel readiness of the project in a way, of like, yeah, and I think that's really helpful and really important for ARPA applications, to be able to see that you've got a plan ready, you've got a space. I know it can be tough for sure, of like, well, we don't want to start a conversation if we don't know that we have funding, but also we, need to have some of this background planning done in order to apply for funding. So it's always that like push and pull, and I do understand that. But to be able to put up an application, that covers the justification, covers, how the partners that you'd work with in order to, fully realize the project, spaces that you'd use, and kind of having those boxes checked, and being able to go through the prep conversations with partners of that it is all contingent on like acceptance of the application. I think that would be very helpful in your proposal.
I have a
Jennifer.
quick question just to kind of piggyback on what Tori was asking. So if there were to be a collaborative effort, say, between various groups within Somerville to do these sorts of things that we're talking about, whether it be community gardening or having these meadows or other sorts of things, do each of those need to have these UEI qualifications, or can there be one principal sort of in like lead group or individual even, or I don't know how exactly that could work, but and then the others are just part of that collaboration, or would everybody need to be involved or to have the same qualification, even as distinct members?
Great question. I think the latter, but I would have to double check. we're working with a team of consultants to make sure that like everything, fits the regulations. And so that's a question that I would bring to them. But I believe that you could probably have, the main applicant be an incorporated organization as an example, and then have list a variety of partners on the application who will be helping carry out the work, but one will be the primary, financially responsible organization. That sounds fine to me, but again, I would have to double check that.
Okay, thanks. And also, I just wanted to thank you for being here and telling us about this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good news.
Thank you.
I also wanted to ask if any of these funds can be used for private property. And my aim is to be able to encourage people, private homeowners, to grow native plants on their property in order to increase biodiversity and increase the tree canopy. Could there be like a plant giveaway? This is my big dream. Like, could there be a plant giveaway for homeowners to plant, again, native plants in their yard to help with flooding, help with climate change, help with the heat island effect, etc.?
That's another one I'd have to ask. I mean, that's like from my personal perspective, I'm like, that's cool, and I'm into that. And I see the value in that, but I would have to confirm that one. I would need to check in on as well. But again, I think a lot of there is a lot of flexibility, and a lot does come down to, how you can connect this back to the pandemic. And so I think, you started to mention a few ways that I think makes sense. So that's a good place to begin. And I think, as an example, like if it was to run a city program that, had these opportunities available, I could see how that would be eligible, but I would again have to confirm that. Which also brings up an important point for me that I've forgotten, which is that ARPA is time limited, unfortunately, which funds have to be expended by, well, they have to be encumbered by the end of calendar year 2024. For most of our projects, this means that we'd like, them to have applied, done their project, completed it, and used all the funds by the end of 2024. You may see this 2026 date around, where what this means is that, at the end of 2024, we can no longer reallocate funds to different projects. We're locked in to our spending. And so in order to make sure that we're not losing any of the funds or not utilizing them, the only projects that will be allowed to continue expending until 2026 will be something that has very fixed costs, a long-term contract. So really just stuff like construction, where we know that they're going to use all the money, they're going to end by that date, and we won't, be having money left over that we can't reallocate. So for all our, most of the project's purposes, the funds will have to be spent by the end of calendar year 2024. Just want to put that out there.
Vanessa, has the public space and urban forestry, because the city as an entity could apply for things, right? Is that correct?
That's right.
Vanessa, has public space and urban forestry been thinking about projects they'd like to do, or I don't know, extra monies for planting trees? I don't know if that would be something. It's kind of like infrastructure.
Yeah, we did have a meeting with Erica, I want to say a few months ago, and didn't think of a way to use the funds with the time limitation and needing to relate it back to the pandemic. So we have not thought any further about applying for the funds, but you know, if you think of a specific project, we can probably talk about it some more. Yeah.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
back
Connor.
from typing minutes, so sorry, I have a question real quick. Along those lines, thanks Erica for being here and sharing this. Haven't heard about it, so this is great. Some things too for the city to give a plug, I guess, for Amy, since she's not here. She usually is talking about pollution panels around high density areas or public parks, and I don't know if that would be potentially a good project that the city could take up for some of those clear barriers for air quality distribution. And then I know we've talked about the Green Line extension and how we can't plant trees in that area, but would it be possible to get like a consult that would work with the MBTA that could then find approval for low shrubs or low growing meadow prairie mixes so that we could actually green that dead zone that is going straight through our city and other cities. So those are two thoughts that come to mind. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll record all of these just and as well as what Tori, Jennifer, and everyone was mentioning too. Thanks.
So, anybody else? So what I'm thinking of doing, so you're saying that, so next week, the end of next week, the survey is closing, right? But that's not the date when you're no longer accepting proposals, right?
Right. And so at this stage, sorry, I should have clarified. So we're doing this community engagement process that, as you said, closes pretty much next week. The survey closes next week as a hard deadline. And so then we'll take this whole package, create from it of all of our findings so far, create a statement of community values that, you know, coming up from the themes that have been raised throughout the process. The mayor will be looking at how to generally budget the funds through the different eligible uses. And then we'll open up the public portal for applications. So not available yet and will be, you know, in the spring and summer, opening up for a call for applications. And in that space, you know, my job is to, as I said, help, you know, get your application the best that it can be. And so I'm here to be reviewing in advance. And the portal, once it opens, will have my contact information on there, as well as, of course, like all the details of project requirements and stuff. So hopefully, you know, making it as accessible as we can.
Okay, so what I'm going to propose is an ARPA subcommittee, and maybe whoever wants to participate, you know, if we can just sort of like hammer out some projects, put it in a Google Doc, share it with Erica, maybe even to help us along, like, you know, just do some brainstorming and maybe a few proposals. And I really like the idea of getting some pollution barriers up. I think a combination of, like, you know, plants and hard barriers would be, you know, like vines. And so yeah, okay. Whoever would like to participate, let me know, and I will set up a meeting for that, because I think this is really important, and I think we have great minds on this committee. And this is open to members of the public too. This would be a subcommittee. I would open this up as a working group to members of the public, who's ever on the call. Okay, Erica, thank you so much. Any other questions? No. Okay, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'll be logging off, but I'll be available offline. And I put our website in the chat with my contact information.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay, is it time for Franny Road? Is
Ben is here.
I have a
Hey guys, this is Ben. Just on my way out of DPW, so I'm on the phone.
Yeah, Ben has a bad connection. I think Crystal was also trying to chime in real quick.
Better?
A little better, Ben.
I just pulled off the road. Sorry about
that. Oh. If you want, Ben, I can do a little intro, or you can talk about it quickly, and then I can show some pictures.
Yeah, so if I'm cutting out or anything, just let me know. But so my name is Ben Waldrop. I'm the superintendent of grounds, and obviously our office over here at DPW 1 Franny Road, the facing property to Franny Road in between Trump Field and the front of the Department of Public Works has been quite some time since it's been overhauled and landscaped. So we came up with a project for this spring. Obviously, we're looking to break ground on it rather sooner rather than later. But our plan at this point is there are 3 trees that are in pretty rough shape out there. Vanessa and Breck have both looked at those as well. And part of the plan would involve removing those dead or dying trees and then replanting the area all according to the current native species. So, that's kind of our plan right now. It's just an old abandoned mulch bed and some burned up grass from just dog urination and, years of not being cared for. So we're looking to kind of make it a focal point for our DPW there. That's kind of our plan.
That is so exciting. Oh.
I'm just going to share my screen. You can keep talking.
Okay. Ben, this is so exciting to hear. Years ago, I asked Stan Cody, rest in peace, love you, Stan, if I could plant that area. And he's like, no, Victoria, the rats. And I'm like, okay, still going to be rats, but this is really exciting. And do you need help from us in making selections or sourcing plants? Because I would,
So we would be open to it. I mean, we don't have anything set in stone. We've had a couple of rough plans that, we've put together, but nothing is set in stone. So, if there is any input, obviously feel free to put that forward, but we are looking forward to move on this pretty soon. So we were looking with a lot of the suppliers on what is available and readily available, where we can go ahead and, get that within a week or 2 once we get approval on those trees and kind of break ground and then have the plants readily available once the drip lines go in.
Okay, so imagine, so trees, and then you're going to do perhaps some shrubbery and herbaceous plants?
Correct. Yep. For trees, I mean, that area right along Franny Road obviously has been a high salt area just in the wintertime. So we were looking at some of those street trees that have died several times. We're going to look at putting some planters there with some annuals and perennials in them. And then in terms of trees, obviously no real high growth trees in that area, but we would be looking at some, small ornamental plantings with the herbaceous natives around those. And then obviously there was a couple areas that will be just seasonal annuals to help spruce things up.
Okay, well, hopefully we can lean less on the ornamentals. I know people like them, but we have beautiful ornamental perennials. So, so who's your source usually? Do you just go to Ricky's or Cavicchio's?
No, so we have several planting contracts. We, obviously with the municipal purchasing laws, we can't just go wherever we'd like and spend over 10,000. So this project is probably going to be a significant expense, and we'll have to use our citywide plant contract, which is McHugh's out of Woburn. We can buy some non-contractual stuff, which we've looked at some of the native gardens around, and then obviously Northeast has some supplies as well, Mahoney's. So, we can kind of mix match it and piecemeal it together as we need if we have certain needs that are readily available elsewhere. So we're not sold on getting everything from one spot, but we are held to those purchasing laws. So that could complicate things if we look at all one vendor.
Okay. Okay. So it's going out to bid? Is that, did I understand?
No, it is not. We have a citywide plant contract currently that we'd be utilizing for this.
Okay. Interesting. And sorry, I'm hogging the phone right now, but it's like, do they do all of our squares and things like that?
They do. They are our sole source for contractual plantings currently.
Okay. Okay. Well, I would like to be able to weigh in a not in a document memo form, because that'll, rather than rattling things off right now, and maybe the tree selection and planting standards committee would want to help out with that. We could probably get you something in a month. Is that too late?
That would be way too late. We're looking at moving on this in the next couple weeks if we're going to do it this year. If not, it's going to push it into probably next spring or this fall.
Okay. All right. We can get you something. I can get you something within the next week.
Okay.
All right. I've been talking a lot. My fellow board members.
Yeah, I have a question, Ben. Thanks for coming online. My name's Connor, and I was just curious, does DPW have a list right now of the plants? Because right now the spreadsheet that we see is just the removal of the trees, but it'd be great to hear more specifics from you or receive a document from DPW regarding the actual planting plan.
Yeah, so we can share that with you next Monday. Commissioner Lathan's back, and we actually have a call with Tori and Renee. So I don't know if we want to combine that in that same phone call, or we can send it over before then. Like I said, that's kind of what we've had that's readily available at the current time. And then that's, kind of what we're going to have to check is just any availability on specified plants or recommended plants that you guys do throw out. So I can share that, and then any change that you'd like to make, please feel free to share those. Not set in stone, no problem. But, we're happy to review whatever comes in.
And you said the nursery you work with is McHugh's, and they're based out of where?
McHugh's is out of Woburn, yes.
Woburn? Okay, thank you.
Then we do have some non-contractual funds with Northeast, Mahoney's, and I believe the other was Garden of the Gods in Framingham. I think that was it.
It is a garden of the gods. It is a garden in the woods, but it is.
It's 100% native out there, though. So, yeah.
Okay. I think we can get you something by the end of next week, and I'd love to check in with you Monday since we're meeting. Maybe that can be something like at the tail end, maybe going over the document, or we can set up another time, but we can get you something. And I think that I really appreciate you coming here and sharing this and allowing us to participate in it. It's really warms my heart, because I feel like we're working together. You know what I mean? We've operated in silos for a long time, so I'm just really glad you're here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Vanessa arranged it, so big thanks to her too. But like I said, we're looking to move on this sooner rather than later, just before things heat up. We do have a good bit of work with some of the site prep in that area, obviously the tree removals, and then removal of some old rotted landscape timbers. There are several yew bushes that are in pretty rough shape. We're going to save several and then have to remove a few as well. So once we do get the go ahead on those removals, we can start the site prep, and then the planting plan will fall into place accordingly.
Can I chime in for a minute?
Yes, Vanessa, go ahead. Thank you, Vanessa.
Sure. just as you guys are thinking about species in this area, it is pretty shady, so keep that in mind that shade loving species would be probably the most suitable. I also did want to talk a little bit about these trees before we move on. This is sort of serving as the public meeting about the potential removal of these trees. So I wanted to make sure we are all on the same page there. So I have a little bit more information. This is the site. So there are 3 trees now. There's, now this is in my way, two 12-inch Japanese pagoda trees, one here, and then a smaller Japanese Zelkova. The pagoda tree on the right-hand side is in very poor condition, so I don't have any qualms about getting rid of that one. The other 2 trees are in fair condition, so I have a few more photos of those. The canopy does have of both of the trees has, you know, a number of live branches that are budding, but they do have some damage to the wood and branches. You can see this is the middle pagoda tree. It has this big scar here, and some decay, I'm sure, is going on in the trunk. And then one of the main branches has this large wound and is mostly dead. So it does have a lot of issues. The Zelkova has a fairly decent canopy. Some of these branches are dead, but it also has a lot of decay at the base. So these 2 trees could continue to survive and struggle along with the decay in the trunk and root flare here. They're not going to be, they don't have long lives ahead of them. So just wanted to get everyone's thoughts and about removing them and replanting the entire area with this new plan. Any comments or thoughts?
Yeah, I think it seems like a really great opportunity. I think we'd be really excited to see some new, flowering understory trees here. And it seems like this would also be a great place. It seems like it's a good amount of space to really fill it with shrubs and perennials.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what spurred the project over there, was just due to the poor condition and health of those 3 trees. So, you know, Vanessa did share those. Thanks, Vanessa. And then we are looking at, you know, kind of doing this one time and being done with it, and then just having the annual maintenance associated with it. So,
and can I ask,
you know,
it looks like
ideally the Zelkova and the 1 pagoda are not in good shape by any means, but we're looking to kind of do it one time and not have to reinvade the area when those trees do go in a couple of years.
I wanted to ask, in this photo and the previous one, are there any other uses that happen in this space? So it looks like the side is against a wall, and then in the middle photo, in the slide above, are the windows on the first floor, can people see out from there? Are those like light providing windows? They are. Okay. I'm seeing
You
Vanessa.
cut out on the first question. The second question about the windows, those are just, you know, light providing windows. They're caged. So we're looking at painting those cages to, you know, kind of up the aesthetics with that. And then we can help kind of provide some cover with those, but there is no visual access from those windows. So it's not like a herbaceous bush or anything would provide a visual blockage. So that's not something we have to worry about.
Awesome. That's great to know.
And then the other area where the Zelkova is, the like brick wall, there's nothing happens there, right? It's just land.
Yeah, just planting, and then seasonally, we're going to look at painting the base of that big brick wall as well, where there's exposed concrete. Just do some mortar work and patch that, and then paint it. And then we're going to look, obviously, at seasonally decorating that area during the holidays with some lighting, wreaths, decorations accordingly. But other than that, it's just a blank wall.
Awesome.
This space looks like it would be prime for a pollinator meadow. I know that perhaps this is not what the immediate project is, but I'd love to just keep that on the back burner. This might be a great opportunity to plant plants that we've been talking about that maybe aren't going to work in street tree as a street tree, like your witch hazel, or like we've talked about dogwoods, and you know, maybe some chokeberries or choke cherries. I mean, it'd be a beautiful place for service berries. I think we could do a lot in a little bit of space and still make it a manageable project that can be executed with, you know, whatever within the budget. And just so it is, if I like, is it this entire area that we're seeing, kind of like, you know, leaving some space to access the concrete wall, but is it kind of like that entire strip?
Correct. Yes, it's about a 75 by 12, I believe, and then the other end is, I believe, a 15 by 12 or 30 by 12. I have the exact measurements on my desk. I can get back to you tomorrow on that and email it over.
Yeah, if you could send that, that'd be great. Then we could like sketch it out or whatever, you know, and give you options, of course, if you can't find a certain plant. So, so glad to have you.
Can I just chime in quickly? I was thinking that too, Tori, that looking at these, like especially along that wall too, that we could, if you could put maybe some smaller growing, witch hazel, you know, I always sort of like asking around about that, but you could maybe put more rather than just replacing tree for tree. But I just wanted to confirm we are, I think the plan is to get rid of these 3 trees. Is that correct? Because I actually just looked up the Japanese pagoda tree because I thought it might have been on the prohibited plant list, and it's not. But it does create these seed pods that blow around all over the place. So I wouldn't be necessarily sad to see those go, even though they're in fair condition, and replant them with some native species that might do a little bit better there. And I also wanted to ask, if you talked about a high salt area, Ben, is that a concern? Does there need to be some salt tolerance in these species, or is that something that won't be an issue moving forward?
So we should have that issue resolved. We're looking at some granite curbing in that area. And with that granite curbing, obviously would prevent the broadcasting into those planting beds. So those areas should be fine, and once planted shouldn't be, you know, inhibited by any salt.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Ben, when you mentioned, you know, adding some winter interest in ornamentals and wreaths and things, I immediately thought about, you know, how we have our like winterberry and our red twig dogwood, and, you know, plants that people like, you know, buy or take sprigs in to make these sort of like swags that, you know, that, so we could play around with you know, having that sort of winter interest as well. So anyway, this is great. We'll get something to you. Please send over the size of the lots to Vanessa, and yeah, and we'll get something to you. Anybody else from the board?
Perfect.
All right, we're going to move on to the next item. Thanks for coming. So
Corey,
I noticed.
can we please do the tree adoption certificate next? Is that at all doable?
Absolutely. So you wanted to let's start with that, but since you only have a few minutes, do you want to share? Will you share with your thoughts on that? If you had something specific.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer, this is the right meeting for this, right? I'm not mistaken about this. Okay, cool. So Can I
share your screen?
Yeah, I'm on camera. Hello, can I share my screen?
I'll give you
I don't
permission.
see how to
Zach.
share my screen.
It's because you don't. Hold on.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
Sorry.
patient. No.
While
All right.
she's working on that, I'll just say that Crystal's been working hard on developing this tree adoption certificate that we've talked about sending to our adopters. They're translated and everything. So we're all so happy to be able to see them now. Thank you, Crystal.
So Crystal's on the subcommittee then, or honorary?
She is on the Adopt a Tree working group, resident
okay.
member.
Hey, Vanessa, are you able to access the emails of people who are attending? Because Jayan wanted to be part of the subcommittee of the ARPA. And
I can put my email in the chat if you want, Tori.
That would be great. Okay. How you doing, Crystal? Did we lose you?
I think they're having some technical difficulties. Oh, she's in the sorry, they're in the attendee list. Sorry, Crystal. Here we go. Panelist. And new, now there's two of you. Do I need to switch the presenter to this other Crystal?
I think so. I'm sorry.
Okay, is that working now?
I think now.
Pretty.
Yes. Okay.
You're amazing.
This is the English version. Well, go to where it's not like. I'm not
You're
able to
saying
hear.
wonderful things. I can't hear you.
Also can't hear.
No. Crystal, we can't hear you.
Oh, we can't hear you. Oh.
She had several translations done.
Okay,
I think she got help from some of the mamas. I guess does some connections, has some connections for translations.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Mm-hmm. It looks nice. She had a friend help her with the graphics of it.
Yeah.
I'll try to send her a chat maybe.
Yeah.
I just sent her a private chat.
Trying to mute her and then unmute her. Nope.
I think their pronouns are they, them.
They, it is. Please forgive me.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Oh, we can't hear you, Crystal, and you look so animated and wonderful, saying everything you're saying. Can't hear. Yeah.
Good job, Connor.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? I don't think you
Guessing
can hear
no.
us. Okay. Um,
Hey.
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the headphones. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm
Sorry,
like
Crystal.
excitedly telling you how, like, I'm so sorry. Okay. Thank
They
you,
looked
Connor, for
beautiful.
fine.
They looked
They're
they looked
wonderful.
amazing.
Thank you for all the work.
Yeah,
Jennifer was translating as you were talking, and we got it. Your enthusiasm, and it worked.
Yeah, so there are a few more still to be generated, and they're generated as PDFs that are fillable. In terms of the fields, the blanks will be fillable, and the signature line will be fillable through PDF software. There are a few more translations coming. The artist had to dash, but she's got Ukrainian and French, as well as I showed you Chinese, Nepali, Spanish, Portuguese. I really wanted something that sent the message to everyone possible in Somerville that that people are welcome to put down roots here, like literally. And so that's why I particularly sought out a translator to Ukrainian, because we have at least one family of refugees. And I think that everyone should have the opportunity to set down roots. But yeah, I'm sorry I excitedly like presented things that you couldn't hear. It's kind of like that game where you do a slide deck and somebody else like does the anyway. I'm really I really enjoyed this project. I'm really hopeful that it will be helpful to Somerville. I plan on adopting a tree and like doing a Twitter thread and a like adoption ceremony and whatnot, and like hopefully driving more interest into the process and using it as a jumping off point for folks to also do more participation with the you know, the insect survey and all sorts of things that are related and that keep our trees healthy and happy. And now I'm receiving all the notifications because it is past 6 p.m. I'm really sorry. I will email the PDFs that I have as soon as I finish my next meeting. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
No, thank you for your hard work on this. And I'll make sure, Crystal, that you get the that same link for some of the other stuff that I sent earlier. We could probably store them in there, even the PDF. If you want to send them, I can pop them in there, or you can. But yeah, feel free to send them, and that's where we can keep them so that we can send them to people when they adopt a tree.
Cool. And the only other, there were two things that were questions on my end. One was, can we add something specifically about the, you know, this year there will be an adoption certificate. Here are the available languages into the. It wasn't a press release, but it kind of was a press release draft that I saw in Google Docs.
Yeah.
I didn't want to edit.
Let me make it, and go ahead and add the suggestion, and we can make that change in there. But that would be a nice thing for people to know, because they can go to our website and see that right up. So sure, yeah, let's add that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and the second thing was just to make sure that before doing all of the things on social media, having a link that I can send people to for like, here's how you too can adopt a tree, so I can add it to the thread.
Yep, and that's also in that little write-up. So yeah, that should be easy enough. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so
right.
much.
Thanks so much, folks. Sorry, it was like chaotic.
No, it was great. It was great. Again, it was well translated. Thank you for all your work.
It was very fun. I will talk to you all soon. You gotta run.
Bye,
Thank
Crystal.
you.
Bye, Crystal.
Okay, should we continue with Adopt a Tree since we're here? Does that make sense to
Sure.
people?
It's okay with me.
Did we have any other non-committee things on the agenda? I don't have it up, but I just want to make sure we're not holding anyone else up who needs to jump.
Yeah, is anyone waiting for us?
No, good.
Just the Union Square, but that's you, right, Tori? So
Yeah, and that's
so I don't think so.
I just want to send that, basically send that to SAP, to that doesn't even need to be addressed necessarily at this meeting. I just wanted to get it in the conversation. So let's go to, I mean, let's continue with Adopt a Tree, because since Crystal, started this, and then we can go to updates from the city.
Okay. I'll kick that off just to say a couple of things then, and I'm going to hand it over then to Connor and Leah, who are doing the next steps in it, so they can update the group on what they're doing. But I think we're aiming probably to, like, maybe, as Leah mentioned earlier this evening, sometime before our next meeting, obviously, we'll have the trees tagged. I have made a sign-up sheet that I sent around. Everybody should have access to it, but if you don't, to sign up, for a ward or a section, or to get a friend and do it, then please do so, so that we can coordinate with everybody to get the tags and maps and all of the other materials, which I think are in process of getting these things together. So I think that's all I have to say about it. Let me just check. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it. So I'll let Connor and Leah take it from here so they can update us on what the tags and the communication aspects of it.
Leah, you want to lead off?
Sure, yeah. So we updated the tree tags for this year. The only change is that I changed our tiny URL to, I forget what it was. I think it's just Somerville Tree, so that it's easy to remember and people can take that, even if they aren't able to use the QR code. Hopefully we can get more people using the tiny URL. I also didn't see this for the longest time, but we also have the hashtag Somerville Trees on these tags, which made me think we should share that with Crystal and other people who are, I'm sure they already are using that, but that's a great way to spread the word. So yeah, I think the tags are currently maybe being printed either by Vanessa or by a print shop on bright yellow paper, I believe.
Yeah, what is the status of that?
So I just sent an email to the print shop today to see which parts of the steps they can do. It's complicated how many different steps there are, so I can print directly in the office. I just wanted to get the see what a full service package would be like, and I'm not sure it'll make sense, but probably this week we can get more progress done. I don't know how busy they are. I don't know. We'll be in touch.
Okay, and they'll laminate and they'll laminate them, and cut them and laminate them, but will they punch the hole? Or I think we did that last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
We punched our own holes.
Last year they punched the hole in the laminated part, I think. But last year at least they only had the 1/4 inch punch, and so Althea did the punch in the paper first.
Yeah.
And she did the printing herself. So I'm just not sure which steps. They might just end up just doing the laminating step, and we'll do the rest. So it'll be a team effort, quite possibly.
Yep. Thanks for the materials, Vanessa. I picked them up from City Hall the other day. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, thanks for that. I got the rubber bands and manila folders and things like that, and I printed off the ward maps and plant lists and whatnot. So I'm starting to just make the packets. So then when the tags are present, they'll be ready to go for people to collect and can give the green light once we hit that stage. So, but it seems like once we figure out what the print shop's capable of doing, we'll be able to move pretty fast with hole punching, laminating, and getting it out, because I think we're still planning on having people write their own addresses once they get their packets.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Thanks, you guys. That's great.
And then I think Jennifer, you and I should coordinate about the emails.
I was going to
sure.
ask about, yes.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah, we can do that. Send me an email, or I can send you an email, and we can figure that out. And then we need to get Amy pulled in on the linking that MailChimp and doing those sorts of things. But I feel like things are falling into place, and so that's great.
And
Thanks
I
so much.
also just realized I can update the graphic in the public announcement just to show the new, just have that updated link in the view of the tree tags.
Yeah, if you could, that's great. Thank you.
Update it. Yeah, I can put it on a yellow background maybe, so that it's
I took that picture of an old one I had here on my desk. I actually pulled it out of the outreach bag. I've got to put it back in there, but yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then we should be good after that. But yeah, I would just pitch. I think Jennifer and I are the only ones who have signed up for awards so far to actually place the tag. So encouragement for that. And it was edit locked, but I think it should be open now.
Yeah, I apologize for that. My Google Drives are so full, and I had to move things off of it. So I put it onto the Somerville Urban Forestry Committee Google Drive, which everything had been on my Google Drive, and that's why. So I think I fixed all that. I think everybody has access to that now. So all you need to do is just sign up. But if you are having trouble accessing it, please let me know, and I'll be sure you get access to it.
Okay. Anything else?
Quick question. Yeah. So I don't think this will apply to the actual trees that are part of the Adopt a Tree program, but when my contractor removed stakes from a bunch of trees, they had someone new who didn't know what they were doing, and they cut the stakes off, but sometimes left the arbor tie around the tree trunk. So I've been cutting them off as I find them, and I've asked my contractor to fix that. But if you guys have scissors while you're walking around and have them with you and see just dangling arbor tie on trees and can cut that off, that would be so great. I don't want these trees to die in the future from being strangled.
So SLF scouting, bring some cutters.
You're gonna have full.
Those are your instructions.
Thank you.
Don't forget the watering can.
What is it that we have to cut? It's like a tag, or?
Yeah, they're like green straps that are around the trunk of the trees. They were tied to the stakes. So it's like a woven green strap. And they'll just be like dangling on the trunk, looking like they're not supposed to be there because they're not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so not the identification tags necessarily, but just those straps as Vanessa described.
Also,
okay, anything else on that item?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I didn't know what it involved to adopt a tree, so I just looked on the city's website and I searched for adopt a tree, and nothing came up. So maybe you can add an item for adopt a tree, for the program.
Yeah, thanks, Jehan. Yeah, we have a little write-up that we're going to put onto the website when we're ready to actually start tagging the trees. and it will have all the information about how to do that, including a link that you can click on to bring you to the form to fill out to adopt a tree. But if you see any of these tags as you're walking around the city, and I can't find it now, but there's also a QR code that you can scan with your phone. So it's a very simple process, and it's a very short form to fill out, but you can name your tree and just have fun taking care of it through the summer months. And Connor's holding up a tag. So if you look for these brightly colored tags, you can scan that code or go to the link and just and adopt the tree. Thank you, Connor.
You can call me Vanna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that item, I think we're good. Okay, so we are going to I'm going to speak quickly on the Union Square Neighborhood Council. I serve on the Union Square Neighborhood Council with 10 other residents, and we talk with developers a lot, and we came up with this planting guide, and I was the main author. I got help from members of Green and Open Somerville. Just wanted to share it with this committee, and perhaps at the next meeting we can share thoughts. And I was just going to have it sent to the species, the SAP. It's not ready to go like live or anything, but it's I don't know. It's might have some good information for developers. It might be something we can give to developers outright when when the city meets with them. Just take a look at it. Take a look at it and give me some feedback. And Vanessa sent it in one of her emails. So, okay, Arbor Day planting. Anything there? Oh, and I should say sorry, anything on the item, the Unisquare document? Okay, Arbor Day. And I'm realizing the time, so we're gonna put it into extra.
I don't have a lot to share, but I don't know if we make like an Arbor Day subcommittee or something, because we will need to do more planning between now and our next meeting, most likely. We can probably hold Arbor Day after that, but we talked last meeting about doing a tree planting event, and I believe our tree planting is going to primarily be in May, maybe into June. Don't know, since we'll be working with new contractors. But I don't want to miss a window of having one. So we can try to like maybe think about a date soon, or we can make a subcommittee to make some decisions later.
I would be open to being on the subcommittee. I have all the stuff from last year, that we could kind of draw on. So if I could maybe try to coordinate that effort and use some of that as a kind of a template to jump off from. I don't really have any good ideas on dates, but it seems to make sense to fold it in as close as possible, perhaps to the Adopt a Tree. Maybe not too close, because the Adopt a Tree takes a fair amount of time to do. And but I know we waited well into the summer last year, and that might have been a little late, but I don't have any good ideas for dates. But I think we spoke last month about potentially having it somewhere where there would be a tree planted, right? This is what you're talking about, like at Nathan Tufts or something like that. So
exactly.
whenever I think if it could be built around that, that would be the most important piece of it, because we can gather to watch this tree be planted, and Chris can read his poem, and so I think it would be okay to once you have a date for that, I'd be I think I'd be in favor of waiting for when it was a good time to do that and
Yeah.
sort of work the other stuff around that.
Okay, and I like the idea of not reinventing the wheel. I think it was a great event last year, and if we can sort of replicate that, maybe add in a few little things that are more applicable to now, but probably like late May to early June would be a good time for, for the tree planting timeline. So, so we should keep that in mind, and I can definitely coordinate with Jennifer. Is anyone else interested in helping to think through some Arbor Day stuff?
Yeah, I can help out with that. It would be crazy to host it on Porch Fest, right?
On
We've
what?
got a lot of foot traffic on Porch Fest.
Oh,
that'd be crazy.
Oh,
That'd
that's
be too
just
much. Okay.
like 3
But
weeks.
my second thought, yeah, it was a two-part thought. The second part was it would be great if we could at least get some tags out by that point, because there will be a lot of people out on the street and eager to take pictures and adopt trees in my most optimistic of thoughts. But yeah, I think later in May or early June sounds great for Arbor Day.
I like June 11th. It's a Saturday. Vanessa, did you prefer having it on a Thursday? Is that still kind of what your preference is? Or?
Yeah, I mean, during the week is easier for me than the weekend, but I'm not saying no. Why June 11th, out of curiosity?
Oh, I don't know. I just saw it in the calendar and it looked like a nice
Spoke to you.
like time for us to prepare. No real reason except just like that seemed like it would give us enough time to prepare. But I was just looking at Saturdays. And Porch Fest is on the 21st. Is that Porch Fest?
I think Porch Fest is the 14th of March, or May, rather.
Does doing it during the week for Arbor Day, I know that limits, residents that can come unless we do it in the evenings. Does that also inhibit your all's ability to help out?
Depends on what
evenings
time.
Work, I guess.
Yeah, like if we did like a golden hour Arbor Day,
yeah,
like 5:30 or 5 or something.
Yeah, I think we did it like 5 to 7 last year.
Later. Yeah.
Okay, we can throw out some ideas with a smaller
Yeah,
group.
I'm in favor of a weekday thing. Weekends are starting to book up.
Okay.
Can we do we have anything we can give away? Any saplings or whips or? I remember one year you gave away redbud and maybe flowering dogwood whips.
Yeah, I can look into that. We have if it's far enough away, I think I might still be able to order that.
Okay.
So the Arbor Day
given away.
Okay.
Arbor Day Foundation does give away plant, but doesn't Massachusetts have like the Tree Warden Association or something? Don't they give away?
You have to buy them, but they have them.
You do have to buy them. Okay.
Yeah, but I've gotten them before from the Arbor Day Foundation, I think is where I got the whips before. And it's fairly inexpensive, so I think we can find a couple $100 to do that. It just depends on the timing because usually the whips have to be bare root, and they don't have leaves yet, so it might be too late to get those. I'll look into it.
Okay, I think we're gonna go to updates from the city. I think that makes sense. I don't know. I don't think we have anything to report in the tree species selection and planting standards. and the tree preservation ordinance, oh no, we do have something to discuss in the tree species selection and planting standards. Okay, what's the best way to do this?
You can make it really quick.
Mm,
Okay,
I need to go in 7 minutes.
sorry, yes, updates from the city.
All right. So I'm gonna hop right into the tree preservation ordinance. So if you could kindly look at the sheet. Do you guys have the link or should I share my screen?
Is it in handouts? No.
No, it's a link. I will share my screen. 1 second. Don't save that. I came up with better interview questions there. How to explain. All right. There we go. And where are my sheets? There it goes. Sheet. Show my screen. Do you guys see an Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yay. Okay. So, going on to exemptions, we haven't gotten a lot, but we've gotten a few in the last couple days. For 7 Adams, there was a storm event. I'm not sure if you guys realized how windy it was 2 days ago, but it was. And a tree split, and that's pretty much an immediate exemption. Then we had 2 more exemptions. One is a 33-inch rotting Norway maple. And then the next one was sycamore with a huge canker at the base. So that's both hazardous, invasive. If you move on to the 2021 permit applications, I've gone back and I have solved all those cases, so that information is up to date. And as you can see, everything has pretty much been issued or withdrawn because it's redundant. So that is nothing lingering from 2021. That's great. And then we have most recent issued would be, all right, after 4-5. So 4-5, 12 cedar was issued, and I believe Fremont, I did a site visit last Friday, and they're waiver eligible, and it's a huge silver maple, which is growing in such a way that the limb, there is a leader that is disproportionately large compared to the main stem, and you will have a tree-sized leader falling off of a silver maple very shortly if that tree doesn't get removed. So there's that. Any questions? Oh, and also I'm waiting on one bit of information that changed, was 21 Allen Street. We are still waiting on funds or an approach. So before the number was higher and they decided to replant more trees. So now it dropped from 30,000 to 11, and I'm still waiting for funds before they get a permit issued. Any questions?
Was the Fremont, was that owner occupied?
Yep.
Okay. And there's no way that, can they do any pruning on that, do you think?
Not reasonably.
Okay. And under 2021 permit applications,
yep,
there was 495 Columbia, about midway up. Okay. So that's a huge development. They don't have to pay into it because they're doing the replacement of the trees.
They're doing
Is that correct?
replacement of the trees. Yep.
Okay. 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 Any more thoughts for Malik on so did you say you had something on the tree preservation ordinance, Malik?
Did I say what?
Oh, I
You
thought you
just
said
meant,
something
he meant regarding these private tree
regarding
permits
the
because it's part of the tree preservation ordinance. That's our
I got you. I
shortcut
got you.
internally.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, I think we can move on to city tree planting. And that's Vanessa, right?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, and I just need to, so we are at 6:30. So anyone who needs to go, well, can we extend the meeting by 10 minutes? Might be 15. Is that okay? Malik, I know you have to go.
goodbye all.
Bye,
Bye.
Malik. Thanks.
I do actually need to go. Can I do the tree removal bit and then we can go to tree planting?
Okay.
So we do have a contractor that's finally going to start doing some work, both trims and removals next week, starting Thursday if all goes according to plan. So I sent the list of planned removals to the committee. Hopefully everybody got those. At this point, everything on there is a hazard or a dead tree, so we're not doing tree hearings for any of these. I think there's about 20 odd trees on there right now, and so that should pretty much take up the funding that we have available for the spring season. So if there are any questions about any of those or concerns, just let me know.
I guess my one concern is if we can somehow gently communicate to the contractor to be aware of citizen concerns and residents who might have strong feelings, and that they just be sensitive in their language and
Yeah, I
kind of
communicate that to them. This contractor that we're working with now is a contractor that we have experience with and is very good and I think pretty sensitive to those sorts of issues and sympathetic with the general feeling towards trees in Somerville. So I don't think that that's going to be an issue with this contractor, but I will certainly bring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Breck.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Take care. Okay. Is it okay with the rest of the committee that we take another 10 minutes? Okay. Vanessa, I think you're on.
Okay, just confirming that we still have a quorum though. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there's 6 of us right now, so no one can drop off.
Okay. All right. Tree planting. So I sort of mentioned this at the beginning of the meeting, but we are working with a new tree contractor for this planting year. It's Northeastern Tree. They were the low bidder. And we've had our kickoff meetings. It seems like they know what they need to do. But as with all new contractors, there may be some kinks to smooth out as we go. So Malik and I will be working closely with them throughout all the steps. We are aiming to plant 175 trees this spring. We're still identifying locations and getting our species picked out, but we should be able to tag trees hopefully next week and then start planting fairly soon after that. So any questions?
Will you share with us the selections?
Yeah, this one's working a little bit differently. So I sent them a wish list of trees and we'll see what they can find. I can share it with you, the list that I sent, but I have no idea what's going to happen with that.
Gotcha.
it is 57% natives, a bunch of oaks, some
Okay.
fun stuff, some Kentucky coffee tree, some Celtis, Amelanchiers, you know, all the good ones that I'm confident that can survive. So I'm happy to share the list. Any other questions?
Vanessa, could you state again when the dates for planting again, for the record?
I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that May will be our big planting season. So we may be able to get started like first week of May, but that's if things go very smoothly. So let's go with early May.
Thank you.
So Vanessa, I noted, so Northeast came in $200,000 lower than Leahy. So Leahy was like $650,000 and Northeast was like $450,000. And so
Yep.
it just kind of, that's a pretty significant difference. And I know you and Malik are gonna keep an eye on them, but I'm just really curious if you have any insight onto how they were able to, you know, to come in at such a lower amount.
Yeah, I guess sort of flipping it on its head, I'm surprised Leahy came back so high because usually they've come in about where Northeastern did. So I know there's been some changes with availability and gas prices are higher and stuff like that. So that probably increased their rates to some extent, but it was much higher than they've bid in the past. Northeastern's bid also was very low in their watering, the watering portion of the contract. There was, yeah, very, very low. So that's one thing we're gonna have to be extra careful with, that they follow through on. That was where a lot of it came. They also had
And but
lower
these
rates
trees
on
was,
sidewalk work.
these will still be insured though?
Yep, 2-year
For-
warranty and 2 years of watering.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll see, right?
Yep.
Maybe they'll perfectly fine.
Yeah, I checked their references and everyone had good things to say, so we'll see. It didn't seem like they've done exactly the same kind of planting that we do to this extent, but they will be held to the contract.
Okay, any other thoughts?
I just have a quick question. Why are there boards protecting the trees? Is it to protect them from like work sites or?
Yeah, so we have our trees protected from construction activities. So right now there's a bunch of trees being protected in the Spring Hill area because there's a big sewer separation project that's getting started in that area. So you might see that. There's also occasional sites throughout the city where there's some street work going on, usually just pretty temporarily, but we ask any people who are working around trees to put up those tree protections, make sure they're not banging the trunks and branches.
Great, thank you.
Can I just say that I thought they did a really good job. I live on Summer Street, and I thought they did a good job compared to some others that I've seen with protecting the trees, this group. And I saw also they have some structures to protect the wells, tree wells too. So I was really happy to see that. Not on every tree, but on some of them. So thanks for that.
Yeah, the
Thanks.
tree box. Thanks.
Yeah.
The tree boxes are for trees that are 20 inches and greater, but we're working towards making those more standard.
Yeah, but anyway, they did.
Okay, moving on. Outreach.
I don't have anything to report on that personally. I don't know if anybody else does.
Seems like that'll probably be focused on Arbor Day for the next couple months.
Yeah.
Okay. Tree species selection and planting standards.
Yeah, so we finally got our last quote back from ArcWild today. So we have our full total and we can submit that to the city. I just wanted to make sure with Native Plant Trust, the number that was in the spreadsheet was lower than what we had in our calculations. So our total is $2,800, which seemed lower than our estimate. So I wanted to make sure we're not missing anything before we get approval.
That's the discounted rate for industry professionals. So they take off 25% of the total.
Oh,
So
wow.
I think if we look back at the quote, I think the quote states what we originally had projected, but then with the discount, it drops it down to like 17 or about $1,800. But with the, and I think they also mispriced one of the trees that we had seen where it's like, it really should be 99. I don't know, but even in their quote, it showed up lower. So even having some buffer room from the city for if there's, you know, an extra $50 or something like that. But I've tried calling Annette and emailing them to kind of like verify the logistics of getting an invoice and everything like that, but I'm sure it'll be fine considering the city's worked with them in seasons past. So I'll try and get more confirmation from that, but it should be good to go.
And does the spreadsheet include a compost? Didn't we need to figure out where to get that from?
Yeah, I was looking at what Home Depot had to offer, and some of the prices for the compost are quite radically expensive for some of those 1 cubic foot bags. There was one for a pallet of 48 bags, but it was like $700 for the pallet. And I thought, I was like, if we stored it at DPW, I'm sure someone will start using it. So I was like, well, I think we'll just go with whatever that composted black cow stuff will be, just to integrate some things into the top of the soil. So I included a link into that, and I updated numbers at the end of the working doc.
Yep. And I just emailed that screen, that the totals from each vendor and then the total. So I just emailed that to you all. And yeah, I also had from ArcWild, I just have to email her back and say we're good to submit the order, but we have to wait until it's been approved before we do that, right? Obviously, kind of obviously, but
probably.
Okay.
That would, yeah, we should do that. We should wait. And one more question. Did you guys add in more plants to the order for bigger tree wells? Remember we talked about that? Or do we need to?
Is that more plants from Native Plant Trust that we are wanting? Or I thought that we had thought we were going to add, like, take away plugs, like utilizing plugs from ArcWild to just fill in the gaps of the tree well.
Yeah, I think coming out of, I mean, we can do an update, like we could, I don't know, it was $800 from ArcWild, like, should we just double everything? But some of the ArcWild stuff was for donation, or not donation, but for people to plant in their adopted trees. We have to coordinate that additionally.
Yeah.
So I could, yeah, should I, so I don't think we increased it since we added the ones that Tori suggested to add, but I'm forgetting. I don't know, Tori, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm forgetting if those, I thought those were the addition to compensate for the bigger tree pit, but those might have been the previous addition.
I think I did. I think I did add some. I mean,
yeah.
For me, you can never have too many plants, but I'm conscious of, you know, like, so right now, I think the amount of plugs, I think there are like 9 flats. So 9 flats of 50. So that's like, I don't know, 500 plants, let's say.
Yeah.
And, we can do 10 plus plants per tree well. You can even do it more densely. But if, Vanessa, if you think we might need more plants,
I just wanted to make sure, based on your design, that if it's a 3 by 10 foot well instead of a 2 by 8, that we're still meeting your goals. So I don't,
see.
It's fine by me if you want to just spread the plants out or leave more room on the edges with just soil or mulch. That's fine too. I just want to make sure that your goals are being met, even if we have even more space for these trees.
I mean, I'm always for adding, if we want to add, if they have a couple more flats, that's.
Yeah, I guess the question is, do you want more flats? Like, do we want to utilize flats from Arc Wild to fill in the holes, or do we want to increase the number of plants from Native Plant Trust for the tree pit trials?
So the tree pit trials, we estimated 3 by 10, correct? I thought that was what we were working with.
No.
I thought we were estimating small. I thought we were working off the 2 by 8.
Okay.
But let's see here.
Yeah, I think the initial design was 3 by 6.
3 by 6. So still smaller by 14 square feet.
So if we had 14 more plants from Native Plant Trust for each, we're doing 4 trials. I mean, 4 tree pits, right? Or 5.
So if we added like another 40 plants.
I thought you said 14.
Yeah, do you want to have like a buffer on the edge, or just keep it all? So you want to add 14, so that's 28, 46. So no, that was bad math. 56.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you. Or yes. That'll be
Okay.
another $500 or so.
So I need to then contact Annette and get another 56 plants added. And you want me just to distribute it sort of evenly again based off of the percentages that we already had?
Sure. Is that okay? Because if it's
Yeah.
too much work, we can.
No, I think it'll be fine.
Oh, okay.
But we'll try and hopefully get a quote back sooner than later for the update.
Okay. And do you know if Garden in the Woods will set aside these plants before we pay them?
I can ask.
Okay. Okay. And these are going to be on Broadway, right? Vanessa said?
That's what I found so far.
Okay.
We're still looking, but those are
Okay.
the best options so far.
Okay. That seems about right. That area could use some love. Okay, any more thoughts on this item? Any questions? Okay, moving on to the TPO, Tree Preservation Ordinance.
I think that's
Updates
really,
there?
I think that's Chris's thing.
Chris's thing, yeah. Okay, let's move on to approval of the meeting minutes. Did people get a chance to look at them? Any any suggestions or edits on them? Oh,
I
Jennifer?
have one for the March minutes. They were drafted by me and Vanessa, and Amy's name is on both of them, so it's probably just sort of like a
Sorry, yeah, I was
copy
using
paste.
this.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. Copy paste thing, but I did want to point that out. But
I'll fix
otherwise,
that.
great.
Okay, with that edit, approval of both February and March. Motion to approve?
Yes, I move to approve.
Okay,
minutes.
seconded?
Yeah, I second.
Second, okay, Connor? Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. Jennifer?
Approve.
Leah?
I can only approve April or February because I was absent at February. So I can only abstain. I don't know if that messes us up because we're at 6.
I think
can-
it might. You can vote on minutes even if you weren't at the meeting. I can't
Okay,
remember.
then I
I
vote.
think you have to have a quorum to say yes to approve.
Okay.
Or we
Leah
can
says
wait till
yes.
next meeting.
Yeah, should we do this next time then?
Yeah. I mean, is there any? It's just it doesn't get posted to the website until it's approved, right?
So we are not approving February or March, did you say, Leah?
Not approving February.
Okay.
But Connor, it looks like Connor was absent from March. So we might be in the problem for both minutes. So should we just
You
post it
absolutely, I mean, you absolutely can vote on minutes that you were not at a meeting for, so it's up to your discretion, but it's not against the
okay. So I can vote to approve them. Okay. Then I vote to approve them. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't breaking any laws. They look great. Thank you. Approve.
Murph. Hey, Murphy.
Approve.
Excellent. Myself, approve. Vanessa.
Approve.
Okay. Anyone else that they're approved. Very good. Okay, before we adjourn, is there any more concerns or did I miss anything? They all doing okay? Any final comments? All right, thank you all. Thank you to the Urban Forestry Committee. Thank you to all the attendees for participating, and we will see you all next month. This meeting is adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. That's right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Have a good night.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so
Good night.
much.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, Murphy.